Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this broadcast of the 2020 Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. We've got another exciting match for you tonight in the 1-1 bracket. It's a face-off between Hypes Nova and JazzRaptr, two up-and-coming players of the game. I'm here casting for you, Cheesenator, and my co-partner in the booth is Get Daved. Go ahead and say hi.
Hey, happy to be here. They're both 1-1 thanks to switch matches. They're going to have the same record at this stage of the tournament, but two very even runners, I think. So this should be a nice tight match.
Yeah, absolutely. I have not seen any discussion about them drafting, so I think we'll be seeing open party selection. I'll make sure they know to start assembling their parties momentarily.
It's always kind of nice to see. I always like to observe the differences if they pick different party comps. The draft is always interesting too, so they'll have the exact same party and you can see the battle of execution and routing. But whenever someone runs like two Thieves and a Black Belt against Fighter Rainbow, that adds a little spice to life. So we'll see what we get tonight.
Yep, 1 second. We're just going to get a few more things in order here. We need the runners to prep up, and we need to just do a few touch-ups on the broadcast.
Couple people in chat talking about format issues. Yeah, we're still doing Swiss rounds. After that, we will switch to a bracket. Last year, it was a much smaller tournament. We had, don't quote me on this, they had 71, and I think it might have ended up at 74, but we had in the 70s for turnout this year. So a way bigger pool. It's really exciting to see. Lots of new runners, and the community as a whole is... I think a lot of the runners are more mature. So on any given day, there's people who could maybe take out crab cakes, which is always exciting.
Oh yeah, and she'll be running tomorrow, so make sure to tune in for that race. Meanwhile, why don't we talk a little bit about the flags we're about to see. So in this Swiss format tournament, we're running 6 weeks, thanks to the number of participants that we're in, and we're actually running 5 unique flag sets. The first 4 weeks were random Fiend Dungeon incentives, so there's an elemental theme. We've had Sea, Earth, Fire, and next week will be Sky, and then the week following will be a random Fiend Dungeon incentivized. Following that, the 6th week will be Chaos with no Fiend Dungeon incentivized and an extra loose item.
Yeah, going with the casino theme, a little bit of randomness thrown in for the seeds week to week. When these tournaments come around, typically the flags are kind of fixed and you get to see who learns them the best in essence, but this adds a little bit of variety, which I'm looking forward to. Looks to me like Hypno's got some custom sprites loaded.
Yeah, he does a lot of sprite work. He's actually responsible for Caleb's many great sprites, which you might have seen if you were just watching this channel for the broadcast prior. He said he had to restart BizHawk, but it looks like he's got his emulator fixed up now, so we're getting close. I can also say about these flags as we get ready for the start of the game that there's a very important feature. The canal starts loose, so you get a free bridge and a free ship, which aren't always free, but they are this time around, and the canal is deliberately not in any incentive location. So the runners will have to hunt down. That canal could be in Temple of Fiends, it could be in Dwarves, Matoya, or maybe in the Marsh, unless they get an early canoe or something else that opens up the world.
Yeah, the nice thing is it is pretty contained to start. And you never know, you get an early canoe, you might get to not need it at all. If you find that floater as well, get yourself an airship, everything's fine. But yeah, it could go the other way, and they spend quite a bit of time stuck in the interior of the world. And you might have to dig out every chest there is, you never know.
Alright, both of our runners are ready, and we've had plenty of time to do the intro, so they've been wished good luck, and they'll be starting momentarily. We're going to rush right into Canaria and see what's up. It's going to be an exciting race.
And both guys are running, or both racers are running Fighter Rainbow Mage, so one of each mage, call it a rainbow. It's good if you have magic. It's probably the most flexible party format. You got the equivalent versatility with the fighter and the fact that they're just a really good character. And then you're guaranteed to get any magic you want, and if you're lucky, maybe Fade drops to level 2, Nuke on level 1, and that red mage is in business.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of ways to play this. You can always let one of your characters stay on the ground if you need to get more experience on the other ones, maybe because one of the colors of magic didn't roll so well. But this comp is just super safe in general, and I don't even mean that as a slight to it. It has both the insurance form of the white mage as well as the guarantee of all those colors of magic, and a lot of speed ups like exit and warp that you're not going to miss out on.
Absolutely. And level 1 Nuke, there it is. Gonna be a good race, everyone. A little pricey, they'll get bankrupted buying 2 charges of it, or you know what I mean. Exit on level 1 and life.
We got, man, and that's all red learnable with Ruse in the vanilla slot there. That's promotion learnable for the red wizard and the knight. That's a really great magic loadout. I would almost be tempted to just reroll to multiple reds here, because you kind of got everything you need to guarantee that they're good for you. By the way, Hypes Nova has said that his internet is not doing well lately, and tonight it's been kind of potato, so we are experiencing some lag on his end.
Yeah, it's entirely possible he's about to charge Chaos, so we'll never know. Hopefully it comes back. JazzRaptr making the walk north. We'll get to find out what we're dealing with. With packing 2 nukes, it's hard. Well, alright. Before I get a chance to finish it, Ice 2 comes out and wipes the party.
Whoops. So this is where you go and you consider, hey, look, there's a tent. Time to adjust our strategy and try it a little bit more safe this time.
It looked like there was a pretty good run at the beginning there. You might be able to get through Temple of Fiends, but there's going to be a lot of pressure to check all those chests, I think, because the canal is somewhere. So, Cheese, you're a pretty good runner. Let me ask you this. Do you grind at all? JazzRaptr took the imp fight. That gets level 2. That could put you into... I don't know. You grind a couple levels, you might have some safety against the ice too.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to open, and I think we've seen runners kind of diverge throughout the tournament. If there's save stuff available, you just want to make sure you have enough money for one save item, and that'll usually get you through TOF in one shot. And if not, then sometimes you try and gain a level. Make sure that you can get your levels around some of the lower tier magic like heat or whatever that can come out and kind of just kill a 30 HP party but not a 60 HP party. We got some good items already coming off. Key and Ruby. So Key opens up tons of Inner Sea.
Yeah, loot the
chests
castle
really
right now.
Pass by on the way out. And then Ruby, once we get Canal, actually leads to 2 incentives in this flag set thanks to the Titan's Trove, which is a special, more new incentive location relative to the randomizer history.
Yeah, and helps getting the Ruby feel a little bit better than bonus experience. Also, I want to point out JazzRaptr found a loose bottle behind a Key there, but also had pretty good execution early on. Grabbed all the chests, popped exit, walked in, killed Garland in 1 nuke. That's about as clean as that could have gone. Good use of all the tools in their arsenal.
Yeah, so we got pretty fast setup here where we've already got one of the loose items. There are 2 that aren't the canal. Plus the key means that the canal can be in more non-dungeon locations like Dwarf Keylocked or Elfland Keylocked. So if that canal comes, we get to skip Marsh, or if Canoe comes. And then from there, like, we don't have to check chests as aggressively. We can probably start making some skips thanks to already having one of the loose. Hype's Nova's run appears to be progressing. It looks like he came back from TOF with maybe 2 mages up. He's got, yeah, he's still cleaning up his magic and stuff. We don't know quite what the delay here is. He's lagging a bit, and also his timer is kind of obscured, but looks like they're both at the 424 markers, so.
Yeah. And just as you say the words, the stream freezes, but we'll get nice vignettes of his progress.
Yeah, in the meantime, JazzRaptr all the way over to the Pirates already. Bicky, one of the main NPCs, has an incentive in most flags. These pirates are safe thanks to a couple of years ago the tournament safe pirates flag being on, so you will never see a skill or spell out of them, or a touch attack or anything of the sort. And Adamant, that's going to lead us over to the dwarves conveniently, and we can open the key locks.
Yeah, that's potentially a really good treasure trove. So checking armor. They got a silver Cheerio. Pretty good equipment, can go on just about anyone. They passed up chainmail earlier, which if you're going to do something like the Marsh dive, might be nice to have on the fighter.
Yeah, chain armor is probably the best bargain in the whole shop as far as early absorb goes. It's equipable by fighter and red mage. 15 absorb, that's as good as a silver bracelet. It's just got a bit of an evade penalty. But honestly, I've played seeds where I was still rocking chainmail and TOFR, so it can go a long way.
I think it's the underrated gem of Final Fantasy Randomizer. Everyone talks up Masamune and Vorpal, but chainmail's what gets you there. And highly affordable.
Ooh, I like this from Hype. So we recover a bit of his stream, and we've caught up. He is in TOF looking at the key locks. We got a pretty clearable and good EXP Mummy Wiz Mummy fight. As long as it's not super dangerous, I don't hate it. Ooh, yeah. Unless that white mage is about to cast a harm spell, he's not going to be happy. Okay, well that's a reset or even an exit. So
I guess
no
he wants the money. That was 5,000 GP, and if you're going to go to Elf, that might put some magic into your range. You already have Nuke, but...
Yeah, no, that's actually a huge component in the early game in these flags. The shop prices are set kind of aggressively high. You'll often see people play on settings with cheaper spells and shop items, but the scaling is such that you can roll like 5 to 10,000 gold magic just in the level 4 slot. So really, if you want to get those essential early spells and get out of those towns in one go, it's great to have like key locks, other chests where you can grab early money.
Yeah, and as a general rule, you save time on a randomizer when you avoid things like double dipping, and that goes for towns too. Alright, JazzRaptr. Are they gonna go dwarf? I hope so. And then I assume Elfland after that.
Yeah, this is a pretty clean opening, I think. Key really enables you, and then Adamant on top of it. You can give a pile of gear and money before going to Elfland, and maybe already know whether or not Marsh is required. The last sort of out-of-the-way key lock to check for both of them would be Northwest Castle, though Jazz has not been to the TOF key locks.
Now, there was nothing there, but does that leave a lingering doubt, or did they forget?
You know, it's not something you're used to checking early, I think, for most people. It's not one of the things that pops to mind when you're like, oh, I've got the key, where should I be going? You're probably thinking more chest-dense spots. And Hype's not interested in anything from the dwarves.
You had an opal armor you can't use, and a lot of unremarkable gear.
Adamant turns into Thorhammer, not Canoe or anything like that, so we're still on a canal hunt, and that Thorhammer will actually help. That can give the white mage or the fighter a way to participate in the early fights, help us get through Marsh faster if necessary.
I think that's a very generous way of describing it.
Yeah. I mean, some people are upset to see a Thor hammer. I think I'm upset the later in the game I find it, but early game definitely can kill enemies, and it can also sell, though this particular run we've got enough gold, I think we won't need to sell it.
Yeah, if we didn't have 2 nukes, it would have a lot more value. The other race I called, there was no sweeper spells in the first 5 levels of magic, I think. So Thorhammer turned out to be a pretty valuable find. But in this, where we have level 1 nuke, it's well, it's a place we've checked.
Now, because of the lag on Hype's stream, I wasn't able to see his post TOF sort of clear order. It's possible that he went to the to the Caneria Keylocks, then exited back to TOF to do those checks, and then exited again. That's why he was 0 exit charges at the time. If he did, he's got the bottle, but we'll have to do an inventory check.
So far, they haven't really had any hardship, though. They had one bump with an Ice 2 encounter, avoided it pretty easily, and I mean, this has got a Jet Seed start. No clue. It's too early to say how it'll finish, but the early goings are shockingly smooth.
Yeah, it's not making them grind super hard. It's not making them retry the same things over and over. That said, you do want to get yourself some insurance against that. So like camping gear, for example, 87 gold cabins on Hype screen there at the Provoca shop. We might even have cheaper tents somewhere. I did not quite see them yet.
I think they may have been 25 a pop.
Oh, that's great, yeah. As long as you've got a couple of those, early game routing is usually pretty safe. You can just reset any fight you don't like, and that will move you to the next fight in the encounter table.
And Quad X on the cheap.
Yeah, even Fire 2, honestly, even though you have Nuke, because early game you're trying to ration out those magic charges, Fire 2 will clear a lot of the stuff you see in Marsh Cave, so it's a good backup.
Yeah, I think, this is very near a best case scenario. A little bit of a dead on level 3 white magic, but they got another shop they can check post haste.
Oh, wow. This seed continues to deliver. Honestly, if anyone had just gone like fighter triple right after seeing the opening magic, I wouldn't have hated it. We have seen some spicy parties like that this tournament. It is totally legal and even common in this game where if your party is not fixed by some previous agreement or part of the flag sets, that you can at any time just restart a new game with a new party, though you will most often see it right at the beginning in the first shops.
Yeah, you usually see it at Corneria. I have seen it at Provoca, but I mean, you would have to. I mean, you're probably losing about 2 minutes at that point, if not 3. So you'd have to be really convinced that your party could be 3 minutes faster.
I think the nightmare scenario that puts you in that spot is like you see nothing good at white and black magic in Caneria, like nothing that could even kill Garland. Then you hoof it over to Provoca, you find level 2 Fade, and you're like, and also no black magic, then you might be like, okay, it's time for a bunch of white mages.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we're a bit off the thread here. We've got Hypes Nova, who went back to dwarves because he had to, thanks to the adamant pointing in that way. He's a little bit behind JazzRaptr on the progression as far as clearing out the inner sea checks. JazzRaptr has made his way out west. He's in the forest fighting some of these overworld encounters. He's got Northwest Castle and then probably Marsh.
Yeah, people tend to have a strong aversion to early Marsh, but that is looking like the only option that's going to be left because I think literally every other chest has been checked.
Yep. Now we got 3 in the stores here or not stores, a storage of the Lonely King's Castle, and then if there's nothing there, well, there could be grind tiles, even if there's no treasure. But if there's nothing there, 13 chests in Marsh when you add in the key enabling those extra 3 in the bottom.
Yeah, and the nice thing is with a couple of nukes, they could grind on, provided the enemies don't have too much in the way of offense, they could grind on just about anything. They got a life in case something goes wrong.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Nice
These are great.
gear.
great treasures. Yeah, that knight is already super well outfit, protected from ice elemental damage, protected from death elemental, and going to be swinging a light axe. I believe that's the best weapon we've seen so far, which can harm down those undead packs.
Yeah, which will be waiting for us in Marsh. One of 3 major places where you find undead.
Yep. Plus, between warp and exit, warp was at level 4. We can go in there, have warp or exit, so if the white mage or black mage dies, the other one still gets us out quickly.
Yeah. Was there warp for the red mage?
Yes, so
Yeah.
red mage gets everything through the first 4 levels pre-promotion with black, so usually no issues there, unless maybe it's too expensive.
The one concern is, with the enemies not having a ton of terrible stuff so far, there's always the concern that those skills and spells are in the pool for later on.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to see it be safer early and harder later, because early on you don't have as much protective gear, your HP pools aren't very high, so it's certainly better on the runners to not run into really, really nasty stuff in the early game. In the mid game, you kind of have options because you usually be able to go elsewhere if you don't like the dungeon. Right now, we can only do Marsh.
JazzRaptr dives Marsh at 15-15. Tell me, do you do Marsh top first?
In this flag set, yes. You're only looking for a loose canal, and if you see it up here, you're pretty much done. In other flag sets where the Marsh bottom chest is incentivized, it's often the play to go there first. And oof, Scums had Fire 2, I want to say. So
Yep.
JazzRaptr wipes out. I'm going to go in on a slightly different part of the encounter table, maybe safer. Oh, but Stone Poison from the shadows!
So remember
Buckle
a
up,
minute
everyone.
ago when I was saying the lack of bad things?
Yeah, we
Yep.
got a preview of just a handful of the marsh enemies before coming here, but we hadn't seen shadows or scums yet, and they're already making it a nightmare because they're pretty common encounters.
Well, the good news is Flash is not particularly meaningful. So werewolves are a freebie.
Yeah, that tiny wipe did actually put Hypes ahead of Jazz on the chest checks, but frankly, they're virtually even, and Jazz's levels are much better, so I like his odds more to have a reliable marsh clear.
Yeah, especially with the concern of a Fire 2 wipe at any given moment.
Yeah, we got Flame Armor out of the Northwest Keylocks, but that only protects against ice, not fire.
The black shirt, good armor for the black mage when they can put it on.
And casts ice
a
too,
nice spell.
so
Yeah.
yeah, we've between the Thor hammer and the black shirt, we've got good enough magic to kill just about anything in the early game, frankly.
JazzRaptr put the black shirt in the black mage's inventory. I don't really understand that.
I think that's kind of just a reflexive thing, like that's its home. You're thinking this will eventually be equipped by this character, but yeah, you probably want to spread out your elemental AoEs so that everyone can cast something by putting one on the fighter and one on the white mage.
Yeah, the fighter's armor is full, but that Thor hammer could go up there. I don't remember this in particular, but Mucks and Scums, what elements are each vulnerable to?
Sure. Muck is the one that is weak to lightning and also susceptible to physical attacks, resists most other elements. Speaking of other elements, we've already got a mage stick, so we've actually got the 3 core caster items plus light axe. That's 4 caster items, really. This seed could have been a 4 melee party, and we'd be doing just fine.
Which is weird to say with level 1 nuke, but...
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the Mucks. The Scums, like the Oozes later in Earth Cave, are one of 2 enemies in the game that have 2 weaknesses. They're weak to both fire and ice.
And Hypes gets his introduction to Fire 2 Scum.
Whoop, rip. Yeah, so that black shirt did not do much to those Mucks right there. They did resist it. Scorpions you never want to see early because they have high attack power and can roll multiple hits, and if they have a touch effect, it's even worse. Alright, JazzRaptr getting the mage stick out of the chest people normally get it out of, because you can look at two in that room, but one of them is linked to that chest in the top left. Also, either intentional or just a mismenu there, JazzRaptr opens his bottle early, which is fine if you're looking to get your heal pots into a better spot, but it can sometimes mean you forget you have it when it comes time to get in the air.
Yeah, it might be a while until they dive sea, because you're going to need the canal, which we're going to find in Marsh, but the canoe might take a little longer.
Yeah, with that ruby in tow, I think once we get canal, the seed probably opens up a bunch, because that'll be 2 new incentives right off the bat. But yeah, there's a potential for 3 different forced encounters to be guarding something important down here. We got this traditional one, which is a rune sword, not bad. And then 2 of the other bottom key locks have to, like, you must take an encounter to see what's in them.
And the spike tiles have been juggled, have they not?
Yeah, so we are on the what's called the B-side formations. The game data has A and B encounters that you see scattered throughout the vanilla game. That's a prize.
Yeah, lose Vorpal.
Vorpal, high crit rate, post-promotion equipable weapon, can win the game. Speaking of B-side tiles, hello, Gurmaduces.
You're taking the attack.
Oh my goodness, this would be like a black belt stream. You can just take a mage stick, plop it on it, and like sit there. But
the casual 3,000 experience. Do they stay?
With exit. So we haven't seen them cast. So if they have a script like this could be nightmarish, but if they don't, we can let that fighter tank up a couple of hits in front, mage stick them down, get to like level 13, 14, whatever, and then just exit out. That said, it looks like we're down to the furthest chest on the bottom left or on the top right having canal. Jazz hasn't checked them, and Hypes is, well, lagging.
Yeah, the only issue is the middle of Hypes' part or Jazz's party doesn't have much for armor, but as long as the white mage stays up. Poison touch on the Medusas. It could hurt our ears, but that's about it.
Yeah, we've got decent supplies here. He does have life charges. Ooh, gets a nice first strike there, so not even going to see any trouble. Though nobody's using the mage stick, might want to move that.
So out of curiosity, how far would you level here?
I would want to secure that incentive first before investing a ton of time, because if you wipe between standing here and getting the incentive box, then all the levels go away.
Yeah, so walk over,
the canal,
walk back.
You can get levels in a lot of places in the game, but you can only get the canal in one place, and it's here. So yeah, priority is to get out with the incentive alive.
There's no black belt. Okay, also, we've got a downed red mage. Is there a chance that character's just gonna stay down?
I don't think that would be a great call. We did say we love the red magic this seed. The white mage doesn't have a fade to contribute, so you'd probably want to flip-flop them. It's unfortunate that he didn't buy that chain armor to keep it a little bit more protected earlier.
Yeah.
Life is in level 1, and I know we need an exit charge. I'm not sure if there's a reason he's saving the life magic otherwise, or saving the exit magic otherwise. Oh, maybe for a nightmare scenario like this where he's got multiple members down.
Those are the 2 with no armor, though. Like, the red mage took 80 damage on a hit. There was crit there, but again, there's no defense there. So it's not really indicative of the challenge of the Medusas. I don't think they could bring down the fighter. The concern is that he gets blood dry, and then the fighter has to walk past a bunch of scum on the way out. Oh boy.
Yeah. So I guess JazzRaptr is taking this really just to the house. He wants... Oh, and Hypes is walking back in. That probably means he wiped while he was lagging. JazzRaptr's like, heck it, give me a level 20-something fighter, just super duper secure, and he won't have to stop for a grind anywhere else the rest of the seed. The rest of his mages can just kind of get levels on the way.
I think he's got to hope, with the resources spread a little thin right now, he's got to hope that there's not something horrible waiting for him on another spike tile.
Well, thankfully, so he's already checked the three chests that you must. Oh, and there we go. It's on the left. So he's checked the three chests that you must force an encounter for. On the left, you can actually kind of weave your way around, kind of do this S-shaped pattern to dodge both of the spike tiles in the left room.
That is correct.
Here's an off-tile encounter. Hope this isn't scary.
I mean, the scums are still out there.
They are, but now we've got a fighter who can actually tank up like a number of AoEs and still live. But Hypesnova got the canal, exited. He's taken his poor like level 5 to 7 light warriors and hightailing it.
Yeah, Fire 2 has a max damage of 120, so there's a couple that can be taken. More likely it's going to hit closer to, the 60 to 80 range.
Yep, with every level, that fighter is getting 3 magic defense, which is pretty respectable. Magic defense helps you avoid a critical or a doubling of elemental magic, so he'd be more likely to see rolls in that lower half.
It only applies to elemental?
It also applies to... It's just a critical is a hit or a miss on sort of binary outcome spells, but on AoEs with ranges, it's either critical is double or non-critical is the regular range.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it applied to non-elemental or not.
But yeah, Hype's taken his rewards, cleaning up the magic, and Elfland here's got a ton of cash on hand, so he's going to be all set to go. Can take his canal, start progressing. As long as JazzRaptr doesn't wipe, though, I really like his position going forward. He's not too far behind from a walking perspective, and he's years ahead in terms of an experience perspective.
Yeah, and with pretty good equipment to boot, so he should be able to steamroll just about anything, including some fiends.
Yeah, because I think you're looking now at this fighter. If it gets a chance to promote, which is not a guarantee, we might not find the tail, we might not get in the air. If it can equip the Vorpal, though, at post-promotion, you're going to be pretty easily accessing that 5th hit on the Vorpal that you get at 32.
And there we go. Warps out, and it's going to dive again. I actually appreciate the caution.
Yeah, this is fair. This is the kind of play you make where you're like, I don't want to lose, and I have made sufficient progress, even if not progressive items. I've made gains towards winning the seed, so I certainly don't mind the play.
Yeah, maybe a 2-minute penalty on the whole. That's okay in this situation. Hypes is on his way out of the inner sea. What wonders await us?
Well, some Sahags, not too bad.
Rocking 2 damage on the White Mage, I think they're going to be just fine.
Okay, so Jazz is actually bringing up all the downed warriors. That's going to make this a little bit safer, more who can take a single target attack, for example. He just has, I think, still the 2 chests left. So hopefully he goes bottom left before he goes top right.
It's also going to help the run speed. Just getting
that's
4 rolls instead of 2.
The Black Mage has a really... Actually, hang on. Hype is giving us some info from Elfland here. Not Elfland, Melmond. They rhyme. Lit 3 promotion locked in the black level 5 slots. And it's off to turn in the Ruby.
I don't see them coming back for that, though. You do get a decent number of level 5 charges by the time you're doing your late game dives, but you need some Dark Times and Sea Shrine, I think. JazzRaptr on their way. Visiting their old territory and then bottom left.
Okay. We're so black screen. Don't worry about that. We are waiting for a recrop. We've just been notified, but the run continues.
How you doing today, Cheese? And we're back.
So it looks like Hypesnova went all the way to Sarda, found what item he has. We'll be able to tell what that was in just a second here. JazzRaptr is all the way back to Elfland, so presumably got the canal, exited super fast, and made his way back to safety. And I can't stress enough, like, how kind of mind-boggling it is, but we're sub the 30-minute mark, and that fighter already has over 500 hit points.
Yeah, if you took that fighter as is into chaos, that would, like, that's not inconceivable.
Yeah, totally.
And Titan's Trove has a crown and money.
Okay, so we'll have to take a look at his items if he shows us the item portion of his inventory. But if not, we'll catch it when JazzRaptr inevitably goes to turn in the Ruby and check Sarda as well.
Also, with 178,000 gold, he's blaying out the party, so those mages should be a lot tougher to take down now.
Yeah, oh, look at those gold bracelets. That's beautiful.
Didn't get
that's going to keep us really
mage.
safe.
Oh, no, just put it in the wrong slot. We're good. I thought your avatar there was going to be taking a dirt nap.
Yeah, so the great thing, the way that JazzRaptr leveled, because he's already got such a high level on the fighter, he doesn't actually have to worry about like keeping someone down for the sake of funneling experience. He's done that. So he can keep up all his party members the rest of the seed, get all the utility that comes from having those extra members available, and be pretty good to go. Hypes is looking at the spike tiles in Earth Cave, so maybe because he missed out on the Gurmadusas, he's going to need something else here to get the kind of levels you want for adventuring.
Unless they got the rod and we don't know about it. That could be what Sarda was carrying.
Very possible. Would be a vanilla rod. It's also cool to check top of Earth because you've got 5 chests you can kind of find off of a power cycle depending on your encounters, and the 3 grind tiles can, you could roll triple eyes, you could roll quad agamas. There's all kinds of great tiles for fast experience.
I'm a little concerned that they're going to try going for the grind on these. Oh, thank goodness. Don't grind on those Grey Worms. They took the fight.
Okay, it sounds like we got a slab out of Sarda, so nothing super big for the time being. We'll need to be in the air before any of that matters. Slab and bottle, both.
Yeah, and when they go back for their ship, they can get it translated, which is nice.
Yeah, this feels vanilla canoe to me. I think we're going to go to Crescent, and the sages are going to hand over a boat that we can start rowing around with.
It does look like that's where JazzRaptr is heading. They're going for the around the world approach.
Yeah, so Jazz is just in such a good position here to play the rest of the seed quickly and efficiently. Levels give you a lot. Oh, well.
What?
Oh, okay. Good reset there. Good reset. He's going to get his Ruby turn-in items.
I guess. If that were the floater, then that would be a big pain.
Yeah. What we could see right now, we could see Crown, which was the Titan's Trove item, go back to the Kindly King, give us like floater or canoe, vice versa, and then get the other one from the sages and be in the air at like the 35-minute mark. I'd be into that.
Yeah, this has got Jet Seed written on it right now, I think.
But yeah, back to the point I was making before Jazz did that reset. Early levels in Final Fantasy is so important. HP means survival, levels mean magic charges, so you have more resources to finish dungeons in one go. So it's a lot of safety. It's also speed. You get more initiative, more winning morale rolls from your top character, so enemies run from you, and you get better chance to run. Every class except for the Black Mage gets better chance to run as it levels up.
Yeah, every 8 luck points you get a little bump on that. Also better chance of not getting preempted on an attack as well. Having more luck helps with that.
Yep.
It's pretty hard to imagine someone other than the fighter in first place as well, so it really comes down to the fighter's luck.
This is definitely one of the kinds of parties where the fighter stays in front unless you're trying to get someone killed.
Yes. Later on we might see the white mage take point.
So that's a vanilla crystal coming off of Astos at Northwest. You would normally take that to Matoya, get an herb, and take that to the elf to get a key, but we don't know what it'll be. Could still be herb. Personally, I'd love to see, floater and canoe. I want the runners to go, go, go.
I'm putting my money on Floater at Matoya. I think she's trying to read the future with a rock.
Oh yeah, Thundercloud in chat, another one of our spring tournament participants. He's pointing out, so Hypes Nova made kind of a Galaxy Brain play last week where he left like the river system to go all the way out, check all these key locks and stuff, looking for, I believe it was the canal. Didn't find it, but he also didn't save that whole time. So he reset all the way back to the river system to go and resume clearing those dungeons. He might be trying to do that kind of play again here and kind of option between Melmond and these other spots, but there's a reason that we save.
It does seem like the overworld's a relatively safe place, but you never know what you're going to come across as you enter a new area and a new encounter zone.
Yep. And one reason that we save, again, JazzRaptr, he sees these encounters he doesn't like, hasn't made a lot of progress on foot, just reset, keep it going.
Yeah, and get a nice long chain of steps with no encounter.
But yeah, Hypes is actually going to beat Jazz to this Crystal turn-in. I think we're going to consistently see some of these like foot race leads from Hypes that are sort of washed away by Jazz's strategy of leveling and just
it's
the power
bomb. We haven't seen Temper yet, and the fact that Hypes is trailing on levels is getting a little bit neutralized by having that power bonk now.
Yeah, Power Gauntlet is a win condition, especially if you can add it to evasion stacking at that point. Like any melee could win the game for you if its HP holds up.
Mm-hmm.
But more important, I think, to the big picture here is Power Gauntlet, Thor Hammer. We're seeing a lot of the non-required gear early. We're going to push towards more and more likelihood that we have to find the second loose item.
Yeah, right now we have, as long as the canoe doesn't come out, we'll have access to still not an overwhelming number of items. There's no Cardia, no Sea Shrine. If we were to get Chime, that would bring the Mirage Tower and Sky Castle into the mix, but right now it's still a little bit focused, which is helpful.
Yeah. This is a kind of progression that's good for making you feel like I'm not super far behind my opponent. We had to do the same things. We were funneled in generally the same direction. So if you're someone who feels like you can execute faster than your opponent or you have a better game plan, then you know, okay, I'm not losing time.
The other bit of an equalizer we're seeing is we've got the exact same parties. We've got better levels with Jazz. But Hypes is chasing the key items a little bit more. This is actually a bit more of a traditional race routing going for Hypes. That might pay off. I don't want to write them off yet, despite having, 10 fewer levels.
Yeah, no, I mean, Hypes can always stumble into a grind tile that's just as efficient, if not more, at some point. And it's also not a given that you need a ton of levels to win. A target people often go for is about 24, which you can get without doing any stationary grinds the whole game.
Yeah, you take those fights as you go up Sky Tower. That might be enough to get you to 24 just on its own, if you have the nice stack of key items when you go in.
All right, we're about to see what the Circle of Sages have for us. On this flag set, the Circle of Sages will be standing around in their usual positions. They will not be running around, making it difficult for us to grab the item.
Hypes is going to be in a curious spot. It's basically canoe, floater, or bust at this point for them.
Actually, only canoe, just because with the flags that we have right now, canoe gates getting in the air. There's no dock underneath the desert, so we have to get both.
We do not have extended open progression.
Fade and Cure 4, so pretty accessible there for the White Mage. Both are pre-promo learnable. Red Mage can get them after promotion, but also won't get charges until level 20.
Yeah, level 6 is in range at the sort of randomizer character levels that we have. Level 6 is going to be in range for the white mage, not so much the red.
Oh, another fetch quest. We don't even know where we stand yet.
Back to dwarfs.
Yep. So for JazzRaptr, he's got ridiculous levels on the White Mage. That's already a bunch of Fade charges, so suddenly the White Mage is like leveled itself into usefulness. And the other magic at 6 was Ice 3 for Black Mages only, and Fire 3 for Red Wizards. So probably not going to bother with any of those level 6 spells on the Red Wizard.
Yeah, they'd be nice to have, but if it becomes a wizard and fades on the table, why would you bother? Fade, the second strongest spell in the game, damage range of 80 to 160, and again can be doubled if you get a hit.
Yep. So Magic's looking good this game. The early game wasn't too devastating beyond 2 or so bad packs in Marsh Cave. So we're making pretty good progress. Nobody's stuck anywhere yet, but we are getting funneled all the way back to this fetch quest check. Maybe in about 2 minutes or so, we should know what our answer is.
Yeah, this is shaped up to be a pretty linear seed, but marathon distances.
All
Did a
right.
shark just play pipes?
Possible.
Could
So
have sworn that's what I saw. I don't know how.
Hypes is lost. He's talked before about not knowing his ship routing very well. If you don't know it and you're kind of newer to the game, it's good to have a map open. You can like open one in your browser tab or on another screen or something, or just like, I don't know, print out a map and place it next to you so that you don't get lost. The other option you have is to do what the broomsticks have always told you to do and push B select.
It is painfully slow, though.
Yes. But with all the sailing that goes on in these flags and with the open progression that lets you dock on the northern continent, you will see pretty frequently people have to make decisions about where to sail up there and get lost on screens just full of ocean.
Yeah, generally speaking, a lot of players are more familiar with the boat around the southern continent and Melmond areas, and after that, you don't do a ton of sailing in the vanilla game. You get the floater and canoe soon after, and you don't ever really sail up north.
Yep. We do take a.
Hey!
Oh, all right. Finally get our canoe. Speaking of the canoe, in vanilla, you do have an option to be kind of cheeky and go to ordeals first before Ice Cave to get a little bit of gear and levels. But in Randomizer, it's extremely common. Like as soon as you get canoe, you're like, I'm going to that canoe dock at ordeals. That's a common first play. But we've just opened up 4 incentive dungeons with that canoe.
So, where do you go?
Well, so the weekly incentive in Volcano is pretty lucrative in terms of total chests, and the incentive at the bottom, plus you can take care of an orb, so you know it's a required dungeon. Only problem there is 1, carry could be difficult, and 2, the incentive is gated by 2 forced encounters. So that might dissuade someone from an early Volcano play. Probably not Hypes, that looks like that's the direction he's going. I do think with his levels, maybe Ordeals and Waterfall would be safer to clear out, but he can certainly make it through both of these dungeons.
I think he's also just decided on how he's going to grind up some of his other characters, with the White Mage getting disarmored and moved to the front.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good call for him. He's very far away from Fade charges, just not a very relevant character.
I wonder if in the back of his mind he's wondering, hey, those spike tiles I'm going to have to take in Volcano, they might be my ticket to grinding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Volcano, you can check 2 forced encounters right here on the first floor. There's the fire tile and the Grey Worm tile. Hype's skipping the fire tile for now, but there are 2 treasures that if he wants to get them kind of in the most efficient way possible, he'll have to take it.
I don't mind when people skip this and then you come back once you've beaten carry and you can use exit to escape from there.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to break up dungeons in this game and kind of piecemeal clear them based on what you're concerned about. Do you want to check everything? Do you want to just rush the boss? Do you want to go for chest density? The chest dense play is usually to just go straight into the bottom left corner room of the armory and get those like 12 or so chests, but looks like Hypes is opting for the slower, what we call hairpins.
In this situation, again, taking encounters is not the end of the world. He's going to want that white mage dead sooner or later. Sorry, Wes.
Yeah, we got the Naochos, or Nachos, as we call them, just because it's easier to say and funny. But they rolled pretty high HP, so not a tile that you want to spend time on. You'll only take it when you have to. Rewarded with a Sun Sword.
That's great stuff. Arguably the best weapon you can give a fighter. I mean, you got the Masamune up there, but that's kind of cheating. It's the best weapon for everyone.
Right. Yeah, Sun
Also,
Sword's
Red Mage.
great early pickup. And in a pinch, Sun Sword can win, and in conjunction with Power Gauntlet, anything can, so...
Yeah, once you've got the Power Gauntlet, you kind of are only looking at a crit rate to a certain extent.
Alright, so Hypes is routing these hairpins such that he has to do all of them from kind of the slowest direction possible. He's not taking advantage of Warp or Exit, which could have let him sort of piecemeal together these chests more quickly. The Peds, pretty thick, decides to run.
Yeah, they often roll a pretty good HP total. It's a little tragic to see the nuke charge go off and then the run.
Oof, mineral nuke there on that Nacho. Hypes is gonna have to force his way through. Has he equipped the Sun Sword yet?
I believe so. The silver Cheerio is just sitting on the white mage, though.
Another minimum roll nuke. Now I know Nachos have a pretty solid M-Dents, but jeez.
Yeah, well, that would bump it from like the 200 to 400 range to 100 to 200. I mean, within that.
Yeah.
That's still a fantastically terrible roll. Exactly.
He just rolled basically 2 1 in 100s in a row.
I think it might be 1 in 50. The even numbers seem to come up exclusively at the higher range, but that's still catastrophic luck. 1 in thousands. So everybody, I'm really happy we could all witness this history together. That was a special moment.
Alright, so JazzRaptr has his canoe. He's got the option to route this differently than Hypes and give us sort of that mid-game that we really like. It's more entertaining for us as casters and viewers to see our runners go off in different directions. Jazz is down to making the Ordeals play, so probably going to pair this up with Waterfall. A good find would be an Oxyale. A much better find in both of their cases would be a Floater.
So loot in the armory.
Wow, so people were talking about a Jet Seed. Now, the back and forth with the early fetch quests to Canoe did slow down the early game, but with 2 loose covered, Hypes knows that he can just gun down the incentive chests, and JazzRaptr will probably run into that dungeon. This is a required dungeon, and the armory is pretty much unskippable.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance they miss that one. Also, nice treat that we got Warp early. Really makes navigating the Ordeals maze a lot simpler.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, the Castle of Ordeals in the vanilla game, you just take the bottom pillar every time and you go through the maze, no problem. In the randomizer, not only are the correct pillars randomized, but also the order in which you get to all the subsections of the floor are random. So all kinds of ways that can go wrong. You really have to keep track of which pillar is correct. If you get sent back, you have to go back through. But Warp lets you reverse your decision and go back to before you took a pillar.
Yeah, if you go in with 4 or 5 Warp charges, your life's a lot easier.
Oof, annoying little pack here for Hypes. He got slow-2'd and failed some runs, but he's back on the horse.
So, Hypes has got a Sun Sword and some okay armor. We know gold is for sale in Elfland. Do they go mode the rest of the game? Looks like no.
No. So Hypes wants better gear, right? You don't
Wants
want
Manta?
to expect to be finishing with Sunsword. Um, and that's also just his weapon, right? He needs ribbons and stuff too.
Yeah. How many ribbons does it take for you to switch to go mode, do you think? 1 or 2?
For me personally, one, but I know for some runners they like two. They like to have one for their melee and one for their life caster.
I believe they've also found 2 1 gold chests.
Now, what could be interesting is if tail is, like, say in JazzRaptr's routing, he deduces that tail is something like, I don't know, ice incentive, whatever, like just out of the way enough for you to consider skipping. What will be the best pre-promotion weapon he finds if he can't take advantage of that Vorpal? Because the Sunsword was in an awkward spot. I think ooh, nice cube. JazzRaptr will probably not check the hairpins in Volcano, so he's going to need to find a different way to get a powerful weapon.
Well, there is a Vorpal sitting there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, is like there's a scenario where tail is just out of the way enough that you might consider trying to win without promoting, because there isn't really much important magic gated by promotion. So, like, if you've already got levels and you've already got gear, what else are you waiting for?
Yeah, I guess my point is that if you don't get the gear, and we know where all the loose items are, so they're gonna probably find the tail. I think finding the tail might be your end game weapon find rather than looking for a specific weapon, And I mean, the Sun Sword's good enough. It's, the Defense Sword gets a lot of hype, but I think the Sun Sword's in the same ballpark if you have Invis 2, and the Knight's going to have Ruse if they
That's
get
true.
promoted.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
think that's sort of pushing the tail as a new end game weapon option.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I like your thinking there. JazzRaptr can basically deduce where tail is, say it'll take a fixed amount of time to go to whichever dungeon has got it, grab it, and then promote, and he'll take his Vorpal and go.
As soon as we came to the Vorpal conclusion, Will was right on there with the Vorpal emote in chat.
Yeah, Oxiel. Okay, so we've run into a couple of required incentives recently, but not the floater. I'm not on like Team Vorpal or Team Maza or anything. I'm on Team just take what you have, try not to waste too much time opening boxes, and attempt to win.
Yeah, and I think deep down inside, most people on Team Vorpal, if they had, the plan was a fighter was going to do it.
So we got a Fiend pull, our first of the run.
Oh
Opens
dear.
with Thunder. Goodness gracious. That's carry
Everyone
one,
left.
which has been re-rolled to a Windows recycling bin for Hypes Nova. I'm sensing that he may have a theme to his sprites.
And luckily, Carrie rolled low on hit points because that was a hit for 100 damage on the fighter as well. But Hypes lights the first orb.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so he's in no mode as far as loose items discovered. He's got an orb lit, so he's certainly keeping up being competitive in this race. Even if floaters in ice or floaters in waterfall, it's not too much different. Both these runners will probably end up having to cross paths, do the places the others did. So yeah, I wouldn't say either is substantially ahead or behind.
We're nearing the point of truth for JazzRaptr if they can just stop getting in so many fights. But the end of Waterfall is up ahead. Just a cave full of ponies. It ain't right.
Yep. Those nightmares can be. Ooh, speaking of good fights, because Gas Dragon's a solid one, especially if it rolls low. This is the vanilla encounter 8, so you almost never see it. But even those nightmares can be good experience if you see 2 of them and you've got ice 3.
All right, gets away from the spike tile. Knife sword's nice.
Yeah, Ice Sword's the best thing JazzRaptr has right now. Rod, okay.
And
Another
the
required
red mage
dungeon.
can use it.
So we've seen a ton of Go mode items. Loose Loot, Key was early, Oxiel was early. Or not Oxiel, Oxiel wasn't early. Oxiel's Volcano, Cube is Ordeals, Rod is Waterfall. We basically just need a Chime. So if
And then that's all the dungeons.
yeah, but because of the knowledge we have, we know it's Floater and Ice, right? Because both Loose are found and the remaining turn-ins are gated by Floater. So Hypes is on the right path. He's going to get his Floater first. But Jazz has done 2 required dungeons, so you can't feel bad about that.
Yeah, they're all doing stuff that needs to be done, but I do like that Hypes has got the orb lit. Is going to have to go to dive Waterfall and everything, but he's knocking off really important stuff. Knows what the second loose item is. So I think there's going to be an advantage that might build until Jazz finally dives Volcano, which looks like it might be coming up.
Now, so basically the last substantial time save we could get... Hang on, where'd that herb come from?
It's a floater! The prince's bed was the floater all along.
Wait, hang on. I definitely saw a cube in the incentive chest in Ordeals, and I saw an herb in the incentive chest in Waterfall. Not herb, a rod, right? Are we remembering the same thing? Where'd the herb come from?
Toya was the power bonk. Chat, we need you. But more
On-rack
importantly...
oh, the shop item! Oh, clutch! Okay. I'm clearly a little bit tired. I've already raced today, and I was up kind of early. I thought we were in no mode, and we had
blame
just...
it on the carry fight.
Yeah, I thought we had just an opal bracelet and a chime left behind a floater. So we actually have an opal bracelet and something.
Well, congrats to JazzRaptr on remembering that there was a shop item that needed to be purchased. Has all the money they're going to need.
Yeah. And honestly, that's something you can call a veteran move. I think there are a couple of runners in the tournament a little bit newer to playing the randomizer. Sometimes they'll forget to check the desert shop or the on-rack shop or some of the more out-of-the-way ones before getting in the air. So we have seen a couple runs stall out due to that. Tail and Ice Cave, so good one to have. Hypes is just going to exit back out. He only needed that info. Doesn't need the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, and Ice Cave is a little bit of a high effort, low reward. Once you get really low, there's some decent chest counts, but I've always thought of it as a bit of a slower one just because those top floors have a lot of walking.
Heal 3 rolled to level 7 in Gaia. That's actually pretty accessible for Jazz's White Mage, which should be a White Wizard as soon as he deduces that Ice Cave has the tail, which, coincidentally, that's the dungeon I was talking about it being in earlier. Fast level 8. Oof, brutal.
So I'm going to look it up, but there's not going to be a lot of charges. If they get to level 25, there might be some charges. It'd be nice to have 2, one for Tia, one for Chaos.
The charges come in at 25 and 26 on the wizards, I guess the dedicated wizards, for level 8. And there's our Opal Cheerio.
Yeah, I guess you discard the iron armor so you can pick up the opal.
Here's the problem I see. With the way Jazz did his grind, the benefit was he got a bunch of Cure 4s and Fades on the White Mage. The detriment is that that Black Mage is pretty low level. It might not even get to 25 or 26 unless he starts a very dedicated, like 2 or 3 person grind right now for the rest of the game and sort of walks it up. And fast can make a huge difference in Temple of Fiend's success.
Yeah, unless you're rocking a Massa, which has got a nice high hit, buys you effectively a couple more attacks. A lot is going to come down to the defense values we're seeing. Like if there's a high evasion, high armor Tia, that's a thing that could go wrong. But right now, I think you got to accept that The sun is shining for this seed. Like, it's pretty good so far.
Yep.
It's not unusual to miss out on fast, you know? Like, it could go worse.
Yeah, you have to prepare for that, but Power Gauntlet being in the pool kind of helped mitigate that for this whole tournament. The idea was to make sure that like it wasn't essential that the fighter, you have to full clear just to find a good sword or whatever, or grind up to a level 8 fast. So Power Gauntlet gives us a lot of options. Yeah, that's no mode for us as casters and chat. We've seen all the turn-ins, but neither runner has put them all together yet, so still probably another 10 or so minutes away from that.
Hypes looks like they're tracing the steps of JazzRaptr pretty closely now, which should bode well for finding, everything they need in reasonable time.
Yeah, what Hypes can do to maybe play a little bit more efficiently, so he'll be in the air later, but he has the knowledge of the other loose item, so when he goes over to do Waterfall, he can also go clear C. He can just go down left side C and kill Kraken, hardly check any chests.
And can do a promoted.
That'll be a little bit of a makeup.
Yeah, it can do it at promotion as well. The fighter is going to be in shape to be becoming a knight right around level 15. They're at 16 right now, so yeah, maybe go roll in at 16 or 17.
Yeah, I think like obviously Jazz's levels are amazing, but Hypes are good enough for where he is and certainly capable of a sea dive. Jazz is about to get his tail, which is going to be good, but he's going here before Volcano, even before Volcano Armory. This is looking like it could end up as a full clear of ice.
Yeah, which unlikely to be a problem from the enemies unless there's a surprise death touch, because we don't really have any resistances yet. We got some flame armor and all that, but nothing big. Unlikely to be anything but a time sink from the walking.
Yep. Now, we've not seen a ribbon for either runner, though nobody's checked Cardia. So ribbon's all on the table, Maz's still on the table. A lot of stuff could be down here in Ice Cave that Hypes will never see. Also, it's going to be pretty efficient clear. Jazz can warp trick to see the incentive early and then exit out from the last chest. So it's going to be one loop and done. The thing that I'm thinking about right now is how this is the third race today I've either been involved in or watched where there was a loose item in the armory. So it's like, it just kind of goes to show like chest density matters so much. You've got to knock out the easy and the free checks as soon as you can. When you're in the air, do Cardia. If you have the key, do key locks, do Volcano Armory. Get as much information as you can without hard committing to any plays.
Yeah, our looses were key locked and armory today.
Back to the fast and the levels conversation. So JazzRaptr, he's more likely to get his fighter or knight up to 32, maybe, before even seeing the Black Mage get to 25. Like, they're both about 10 levels off, but the fighter is going to be sort of guaranteed to get all these levels, whereas the Black Mage might die occasionally. He might, like, I don't know, it's either or. 5th hit Vorpal with Temper and Power Bonk is super strong. You don't need fast to win with that.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to sort of loop back to that too. With the Power Bonk, if you have to pick getting fast or getting some way of upping your attack power, I think you do go with the attack power because you're going to hit the enemy eventually, because all the evasion rages they can roll are mortal. They're not going to get untouchable like you are when you stack up in Viz 2.
Yeah, actually, that was a deliberate choice by the tournament staff designing the flags. They made it 230% boss scaling rather than 240, so it was impossible for Chaos to roll max evade. But in that conversation also is the lock spell, which in modern Final Fantasy Randomizer flags is fixed to always hit. Lock reduces enemy evasion by 20, so that's a pretty good way to chip down at a fiend.
Yeah, I didn't check if anyone bought it, but I am a big believer in having lock just in case. In the vanilla game, it either did nothing or helped the enemy, but it is fixed in this.
Yep. Jazz is doing kind of an inside-out clear of these 6 chests on the bottom here. He Didn't check any of them. Ran all the way to the spike tile, and I guess I'll do them backwards.
And Hypes is rocking Lock and Lock 2.
Nice.
So yeah, I think with that, you might have to temper up a little bit more. Getting twice as many hits with fast is nice. Getting some way of dealing with slow is nice. But you've probably got enough.
So Jazz is checking out more of these chests and ice that we didn't see. Still no ribbons. Where are they? Are they all in the sky?
Yeah, we're starting to run out of candidates considering there's 3 out there, and there's... How many chests in the game? About 250, I believe. Could all be buried in Topher. Little nook and cranny chests that never get looked at.
Yeah, so the lack of ribbons so far makes me start to think about Wall, which I'm pretty sure I saw at a low level. Though
Yeah,
when
I
you
believe
see
it
a
was
lot of
3.
seeds in a day, it's easy to forget.
Or pardon me, I believe Wall was at level 4.
That sounds right.
Yeah, there it is, right beside
in fact, I
Light
see it
Beer.
in the inventory, yep. So Wall is a decent substitute. You do need turn order and you need to spend an action on it, but Wall can cover your behind in, TOFR. There are those insta-death spells, Crack, Zap, Bane, that sort of stuff. If you find all the Knight gear, like Dragon Armor and Aegis Shield, you feel decently about going in without a ribbon. But hey, we're about to get Cardias, so this is 13 chests that have a shot to give us something good.
Yeah, also, on the subject of Wall being good, for JazzRaptr, I'd make the case that if push came to shove, the fighter is the only one who really needs to live.
Yeah.
You got that power bonk on them, you get Wall up, and then you walk away. It's level 4, so they won't be able to wall themselves, but 1 turn should be all you need.
The last thing I'd like to see would be the Defense Sword. Defense Sword really helps you just lock in the potential of like a solo TOFR finish.
Pro Ring and Zeus Gauntlet are nice. Wow, I would have at least taken the Pro Ring. Dang. You can buy them, though.
Yeah, seeing a lot of suggestions in chat places people either want to see checked or just... Never mind, I can almost end the conversation there. We've got a ribbon. That's enough ribbons to win with. But yeah, Mermaids we'll probably never see. Earth Cave we'll probably never see most of those treasures. I like what Jazz is doing here. Immediately ribbon onto the Knight. I think he dropped a helmet there. Could have maybe optimized his gear a little bit more. But regardless, that fighter's well equipped, is about to be promoted to a Knight. So it's going to be this super high level Knight and his merry band the rest of the way.
Yeah, and again, with Ruse available for the Knight, the need for the Defense Sword really tapers off.
Yep. So Hypes is here on left side C. He is checking this chest, which, he's in no mode, so kind of not mandatory, but he's also hunting down a ribbon. But he's making the play I suggested, which is finish up C while you're in the neighborhood.
Jazz gets the Vorpal on the Knight, which we'll do until he comes across the Sun Sword. Gets a real piece of equipment.
I think he's
after
just
that.
now noticing that if he moves his power... No? Okay, never mind. He could have gotten that heal helmet on there and moved the power bonk around, but we'll be fine.
He already tossed the heal helmet, so I think there's no concern for them right now.
Yeah, just 6 absorb. Oh, Bane Sword. Okay, so Hypes actually finds something that is legitimately useful for this dungeon. The Bane Sword might be your backup way to kill Kraken.
I mean, if times get tough, the Bane Sword can be your backup way to kill everything.
That's true. Jazz is in the right place. Come on, let's see a no. Come on, go left first. Just. I've seen so many people do hairpins first tonight, and I'm just begging you, please go left first.
Well, that's why I'm saying do hairpins after you kill a carry, if you have exit. Come on back, eat your vegetables, and warp out of there.
Yep. Or you can be like me, who patently refuses to eat enough vegetables. But specifically in a race recently, I last location to Rod. I think that was in this chest that Jazz is about to check that has the Sun Sword. Because I planned to do them, but then forgot. So you also don't want to set yourself up to do things you'll forget.
Yes, which leads us back to the bottle. I believe the Oxyale was in the incentive chest in Volcano. So that also might jog their memory. At this point, I would be a little concerned that there's no orb slit for Jazz, despite the advantages.
I'm not concerned here. He's about to get his no mode, basically, as he finds the loose in the armory. He'll get his incentive at the bottom. He'll light an orb. Hypes has a Maza.
Yep. So now he's got more attack power than...
Yeah, Jazz basically, he's bleeding his advantage from having the earlier floater by doing a lot of checks that aren't the bulk in the armory. So that's getting this race closer together. We're probably going to see the runners converge and end up, within not too great a distance for TOFR. However, Hypes does have to take more encounters. Like, no way around it. Hypes has to fight. Oof. Lobsters are stunning up his party.
Oh dear, and 123 got through.
But a nuke comes out. This should take care of him. Thankfully, they rolled low HP. 136 does the trick.
Yeah, a near worst case scenario roll.
Yeah, so Hypes has the Maza. He's got everything he needs to win as far as knowledge goes. He'll probably do Cardias and find that ribbon too, so he's in good shape. Jazz...
Yeah, and level 18 on the fighter, like... that's okay. I think if you can get to level 23, right around there is an acceptable Topher dive. You were saying 24 earlier, which, again, same ballpark.
With the Maza in hand, he doesn't need as many levels to get a 5th hit as Jazz does. That said, the place that he found it in, it was in Sharknado, not behind the spike tile. That's a very common check even for runners in Go mode, so I like Jazz's odds to find it.
Do you think either runner feels behind?
I know Hypes somewhat well. We talk a lot in Discord. I don't think he would, just because he's done so many required things already. He's Go mode -1. Knows he's a little bit late to the floater, but that's not too bad, because he also is knocking out orbs efficiently.
All right, the Angry Cursor versus the Masamune.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jazz did clear out bottom left of Armory, has his loot. He's about a minute and a half away from Go mode, assuming he skips most of the chests on the way down.
Kraken didn't roll particularly high on hit points either, and is dropped level 19 for Hypes and a second orb.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty solid. We're at the hour 11 mark. Hypes has 2 orbs lit. Jazz about to go get his first. Volcano is quite quick when you don't need to clear out all the chests. And he's already skipping things, so makes sense.
Which also makes me wonder if they're going to miss out on the Masamune, because Sharknado, that one room does get skipped sometimes. I know you were saying it's an easy pickup, but, they're running past some other ones here.
Yeah. I guess some people are inconsistent about it. I have Go mode and I have Go mode. And in Go mode, I don't look at anything. But just in regular Go mode, if I'm like, well, I could use another ribbon, that sort of thing, I'll stop in and I'll check chests that only advance the encounter table by like 2 steps or 3 steps at most. So ones where you can just kind of dip in, dip out. And I think a lot of other people have a similar philosophy, which is why you see Sharknado 3 of the chests, but not all 4 checked. And Hypes just got his floater, so going to be in the air and just needs his chime.
Yeah, which in the vanilla location, he's got the slab already. That's pretty much a formality.
But at an hour 13 minutes, JazzRaptr is our first in Go mode with the Oxyale pickup in the bottom of the volcano.
All right. Will Carey go down in 1 hit or 2 is the question.
Well, first gonna roll our HP totals with that Thunder. And the
Only
Vorpal,
99.
not, Vorpal's not that great in the early to mid game unbuffed. You don't really see it reach those mammoth totals until later on when you're putting temper stacks on it.
Yeah, it also needs its crits to really get anywhere. Did not happen there. Crit roll is basically another attack that pierces, I believe, half of enemy defense.
Mhm. So Hype's in the air prioritizes immediately going to promote, and then once he picks up Cardia's, he'll have a ribbon and he'll be in good shape. Jazz got his first orb at the hour 14 mark, carried down. He's just routing convenience. Earth was the closest, so he headed on over here. He can pretty much run from everything that's not required in Earth.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be much peeking around. Again, sometimes in Earth Cave there'll be the odd chest of convenience. We'll find that out. I believe the floor after this one.
Yeah, the two chests most likely to be looked at are, oh, there's Hypes' ribbon, are the vampire chest, and then earlier on that floor there's one that you can walk up just a couple of steps into the middle top room. Pretty much the only cheeky checks you do if you're pretty comfortable with your position.
I like that. It looks like Hypes is committed to 3-man strats. There was a little bit of back and forth, but yeah, there is a little bit of experience that needs to be made up. Would you drop down to 2?
Hypes hasn't looked at the Gaia shops yet. He doesn't know fast as 8. Once he knows that, he might. But he's also someone who only recently became comfortable with 3-man strat from 4, and I think 2 is still a little bit outside of his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the 3-man team. When you to 2, sometimes you only have 2 good characters, but having just another body can really add up.
Yeah. I think in Jazz's case, like way back when we were having that conversation about how he visited the bat room, good memes there from Jazz. I think way back when he saw that level 8 fast, it might have been time to drop the red mage and keep the mages, the other 2 up who have those valuable spells at high levels.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're kind of being picky. Like ultimately, Jazz's levels are fine. Hypes' are going to get there. They both should have what it takes to win. And it's just down to like maybe a couple of fast charges of difference.
Interesting, different choice here. Jazz gave the ribbon to the fighter. Not so with Hypes.
Well, we have Night Learnable Life, I'm pretty sure, but it hasn't gotten the charges for it yet, so good call to put the ribbon on your red mage, who for at least the next 1 or 2 dungeons is going to be the only one able to cast life.
Mm-hmm. Only a silver bracelet on the red mage, so there's the potential for something to go wrong, but I mean, in slot 3, pretty low chance of being attacked.
Yep. So Hypes gets the kind of bad news about fast. He knows what he has to do now, assuming he is familiar with all the charge levels for black mages. JazzRaptr about to pull Lich though, and we're about a speed bump away from lighting 2 orbs.
All right, 17:15, the fight starts. The over/under is 17:50.
I'm taking the under.
Congratulations on the under. The fight is over in 8 seconds.
I said it as soon as like the Terminator came up, and I'm like, am I cheating?
Yeah, we should have called the betting line a little earlier. I mean, friendly probability estimating.
Yeah, exactly. I do lots of friendly probability estimating. No betting on anyone. I don't even have a pick'em going. Frankly, there's a pick'em on our Discord that a lot of people are participating in
Nice.
for literally 0 prize. So you don't even like. It doesn't matter if you say you're going to lose and then throw your match, because the only thing that you win is bragging rights. But yeah, the pick'em's going. One of our community members, Edgeworth, maintaining that. So that's a lot of fun, even for people who aren't running in the tournament themselves.
Check out the community Discord. The links to it can be found on the Final Fantasy Randomizer website.
Yeah, we got the Discord link in chat, and of course FinalFantasyRandomizer.com to come join the community, pick up races for yourself, and try out some seeds. But meanwhile, at the hour 18 mark, Hype's Nova has gotten his chime and he's in go mode. So
Thanks for
this
Cheat
is
Gaming
looking
for
like a
sharing
foot
that link.
race. So Jazz is about to enter Sea Shrine. He's got to walk back to his airship, but he'll probably go Sky next. We're
I
going to
believe
see
so.
pretty close, I think, Topher timings, which means it is actually probably going to come down to those little subtle differences we were talking about with like levels and gear and stuff.
Yeah, at the beginning we sort of thought these two runners are pretty close and it should be competitive, and I really think it has lived up to that. I mean, you can see the comparable ability.
Yep. Yeah,
It's a
there have been
question
times where
of
both of them made what I would call like veteran moves, and I certainly don't doubt it in both of their cases. JazzRaptr recently went through the quote-unquote duckling program on our Discord, which is how newer runners get to be familiar with all the basic concepts of the game. And last week he put up a like within 50 seconds of taking down veteran Dengwu. So
nice.
yeah, no doubts about Jazz's ability. Hypes also was super duper close to winning last week. These are runners that could each be 2-0.
Yeah, like on the SRL ladder, like they're both ranked in the 70s, but this is quite impressive. I think.
Yeah, SRL isn't used too heavily in the community anymore, thanks to we have a Discord robot that can manage really small pickup races. So people have been doing a lot of practice through Discord. We found a katana, but nobody can equip it, so goodbye. I think
No
that
putting that
Mirage
on the
1
wall today.
clears. Yeah, I think that Mirage 1 clear is probably the last like major set of chests Hypes looks at, and Jazz picks up the Mazza, so that changes the conversation now. Now
Yep.
he's already got his 5th hit. He doesn't need to grind up the Knight substantially more.
And the Vorpal is placed on the shelf lovingly. Although,
Yeah.
could have handed it to the Red Wizard. I don't believe I saw him equip it on the Red Wizard.
Yeah, Red Wizard, so now Jazz has a wealth of options. You're probably going to go into most fights, including Chaos, with Mazza already equipped for that just amazing base damage and the extra hit. That said, if you feel confident in your ability to buff using Temper and Power Bonk and so forth, the Vorpal is like a more sure thing for Chaos, hedging against the worst possible rolls. On the other hand, if you put it on the Red Mage can maybe stack up its own evasion and be sort of your backup win condition if something just horrible happens to the Knight.
Yeah, because the Red Wizard doesn't have the same strength that a Knight does, I think that sort of lends itself to Vorpal strat on the Red Wizard because they're going to need to pierce. And there's a ribbon.
Yeah, I really thought Hypes was done, but he must have not felt comfortable without a second ribbon. Gets rewarded, but it is time to step on the gas now. Like, you got a Mazza, you got 2 ribbons now. Just go, go, go.
Yeah. I think the nice room about the greater than less than room is there's a lot of chests, there's just a couple steps. So that is another one of those, low risk, high reward pickups.
Yep. We got a 122 Kraken 1 pull here for JazzRaptr.
All right.
Gonna throw out some Temper to buff up the Knight. Throwing out Nuke, and I believe Fade was coming out of the White Mage. Not much damage there from Kraken. Oh, then let's Invest 2, playing a little safe. But this fight should not take very long. 540 there, so he's put in about 700 damage so far.
The over-under is at 30
round.
seconds, by the way. Congratulations on Team Under.
Yep. So that's 3 orbs lit for JazzRaptr. Hype's about halfway up Sky, maybe a little less than half since he's done 3 floors of Mirage. Sky is 5 floors. And Jazz hot on his heels. Actually, it's hard to say who's hot on whose heels, right? They're kind of going back and forth, but Hype's has to do Earth. Jazz just finished up Sea, which was previously Hype's sort of full dungeon advantage. So I like Jazz's position a little bit better. His party already having the levels it does is going to get up Sky faster, and I think he can afford to check fewer chests than Hype's did.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue that Hypes has very many party advantages anymore. I think the Massa was the last ace in the hole, and you called it that the Sharknado would be the easy check.
Oof, keep getting all these ankylos on the overworld. Not worth fighting. We're just going to save up um, and head in. And is he going straight up? Yep, straight up. Jazz is in go, go, go mode.
Which is a good call. So it's a question. We've got Mirage Tower on one and Sky Castle on the other. Hypes is getting pretty close. Warmech could be an equalizer, and Difficult Topher could be an equalizer. The fact that we haven't seen a ton of horrible stuff coming out is a little bit of... It's just something to keep in mind. I don't think cause for concern, but just have that in the back of your mind that there's, thunder's out there.
Yep, and multiple copies of all those things. What I was going to say is Hypes Nova on the Bridge of Destiny, so get out your Bless RNGs and Mr. Destructoids in chat so we can see the robot chicken here. A really important fight in some cases, both in that it can be a deciding factor on whether you make it to Tiamat, and also is worth a ton of experience. It's a great way to catch up on your levels late if you're capable of taking it down.
Yeah, 32,000 base experience just sitting there.
Oh man, Jazz just booking it. He's only a few floors behind.
Yeah, this is impressive.
But he is an Earth orb ahead. That the Water orb not lit quite yet on his tracker, but he does have Kraken down. So this is about more than a dungeon lead here, I think, for Jazz.
Thanks, Sonny. Now lit on the tracker.
Nice. Yes, thanks for all of our production crews, people helping organize, of course, and today our tracker, Sunny, doing a great job, newer at using this tracking system, and we couldn't be more grateful to have the help.
Jazz did opt to check one chest, found money, a copper gauntlet, and a silver dagger.
Womp womp. Alright, Hype's not even bringing up his White Mage for the Bridge of Destiny. Might have been good just as sort of a meat shield type option in case he ran into Warmech, but it's fine. We've got the notepad here.
Getting some really terrible nuke rolls.
The Black Mage briefly asleep, but wakes up. Whenever you have an action in a round, you will wake up from sleep. Because that's just how sleep works in this game, not as deadly as paralysis. Mazza's putting in work, but this Tia does have a chunk of HP.
And some bite. 252 damage.
There we go.
And goes down. Kind of an average Tiamat. Didn't roll. Maybe some decent attack, but no terrible defense, which you sometimes get.
Yep. Now, Jazz is on a different encounter set because of not doing Mirage 2, so chance that he could find a Warmech that Hypes didn't, but Hypes has 3 orbs at the 126 mark. Jazz about to get his 4th at probably ballpark at 128. Provided there aren't too many more of these encounters. This floor is the highest encounter rate in the game.
You're commenting before about the difference between paralysis and sleep. Sleep is you miss a turn. Paralysis is every turn you have a 25% chance for your turn to be cured. So you can get, you come across someone with stun touch, it can be quite a while before you get out of that stun lock.
Yep, and it can roll on Fiends, right? The randomizer doesn't go easy on you. Fiends can have Stone Touch, they can have Death Touch, they can have Stun Touch, but the odds of Stun Touch are much higher than the other two.
Yeah, we have seen one Stun Touch come out. I don't believe we've seen Death Touch. With 2 ribbons, that's probably fine.
Hypes is doing something. So, Earth Cave is not a place you're going to get any levels, so I'm not sure what the Red Mage is doing in front. He's losing initiative and sort of tankiness by having the Red Mage up there.
I think the Red Mage is up there to die?
But nothing in Earth is going to kill it, and nothing in Earth is worth the experience. Regardless, let's set aside that for now. We have JazzRaptr pulling Tiamat 1 out of nukes on the Red Mage, but has Nuke and Thorhammer coming out. White Mage might already be out of Fade casts.
Do you think Lich is going to get the Red Wizard?
Frankly, I don't even know now because Hype's just brought up the White Mage, so he's got some unique strats happening there. JazzRaptr, though, continuing with the Nuke and Thorhammer, remembers his Fade charges on the second part of the magic menu. Sometimes you forget about them. Fade going to do a lot more than Thor, which is resisted, but doesn't matter. The Knight took it down with 455 damage from the Maza. So, at hour 28, JazzRaptr has 4 orbs lit. He's on his way to TOFR. Might just do some last-minute magic or gear cleanup, but I think he has what he needs to win.
Yeah, maybe the Ruse pickup, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruse and Life on Life 1. If you can get, or on level 1, if you can get a Life spell on your Knight, it's, I think that's just a warm blanket.
Yep. Yeah, what's he gonna opt in for here? We had that Knight and Red Wizard Ruse. He skips right past it. Must be comfortable already with what his White Mage can bring to the party in terms of safety.
Yeah, you know, all those things I said were overrated anyway. Just dive Topher. Substitute for speed.
Yep.
Running through the
both
cabins
runners
to speed up
know
anyway.
both runners know that their opponent is in a similar skill bracket and that it's going to be close. So I think you're trying to like cut just even a 30 seconds to a minute. You can if it means getting a potential advantage. Because we've got 129.50 JazzRaptr entering TOFR for the first time of our runners today. Really good time for this flag set to be in here under an hour 30. Especially with the sort of ping pong we played in the early game, turning in all those fetch quests.
Yeah, I do believe this is a tougher flag set than we've had in previous spring tournaments. It seems a little more conducive to tough seeds.
Yep, these flags specifically have more open routing or more ways that you'll have to possibly play through the early game and check many more dungeons to find what you need. So good timing. Hype's Nova, by the way, on his 4th Fiend, Internet Explorer, goes down to 380 damage from the nuke. So goodbye. We'll never have to open Internet Explorer again, hopefully.
So someone in the chat was betting that went under 10 seconds. I think that happened.
Yeah, might have been under 5.
Yeah, Lich went down in 1 hit, so always you gotta feel good.
All right, Hypes is he's here and what's he doing? Oh, did he see? There were mummies here, I want to say, in the early game. He was in slideshow mode at that point, but I'm pretty sure it's mummies and whiz mummies. It is. So what's the plan?
I'm hoping for something good in these chests. I'm not.
No,
exactly
he checked the chests already. He exited out with the results early.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's desperate for some last minute levels. You could just go down to TOFR and fight on floor 1 or floor 4.
Yeah, I think I mean, whiz mummies just aren't that good.
Yeah, and this is not rolling 9 or 8 or 9 enemies enough, which is what you would need to really get the juice out of it. Lich, by the way, being pulled by JazzRaptr, going all offense here first turn, which is good because Lich doesn't have much HP, but just as likely as the other fiends to roll dangerous spells and skills. Already soaks over 600 damage, but about 900 total does it with that new coming through.
Some people in chat are speculating Hypes is trying to get a life charge on the Knight.
With him promoting before Sky, I think he was already in good shape for that, though it depends how many he wants. And also, something that's good in multiples is Ruse, so that's another possibility. That said,
I don't recall him picking it up, though.
Fast, like we've talked about earlier, the whole 2-man grind for fast and stuff, and I get that, and I get killing these other mages, but we're not going to get the levels here. Like, go downstairs. We've got Warp. We can just come back.
Almost any other floor will be better.
Yeah, this is... So I cast Hypes' Race last week, but hang on, I'll finish that thought in a moment. JazzRaptr's healing up, about to pull the second Revisited Fiend here on the fire floor. That is Carry 2. He's got his party in traditional order. It's going Swing, Nuke, Temper, no fast purchase, but also no charges, so it wouldn't have mattered. And the White Mage is going to lead with Thorhammer. So saving his Fade charges maybe for the more dangerous fiends like Kraken 2.
And Carry worked out.
Yeah, that was a big punch. That Black Mage didn't stand a chance. Meanwhile, Carry's absorbed pretty high. Maza hits for about half or even a third of its usual damage there over the course of 5 hits with no crits. We're maybe adjusting here. Yeah, gonna power bonk up, need a little safety. Attack with the Thorhammer, probably not what Jazz meant to do. The red mage thankfully survives the hit and gets off a 328 damage nuke. We're probably in okay shape here. Carry has 700 HP in vanilla. It can roll high, but it could also roll average. And there we go.
Yeah, that's a good thing that fight didn't go on much longer. And that might have been a gate if we went in with slightly lower levels or worse equipment in particular.
But yeah, to finish my thought, Hypes last week also kind of got right up to the end game in just as good or better position as his opponent, and then kind of made a questionable call. He clearly desperately wants fast charges here, and if like Tiamat and Chaos are just nightmarishly high evade, absorb, HP, which can happen, that can give him an edge over Jazz. But if they're not, Jazz will be done on the first dive, and Hypes will have missed his window.
He's got 2 fast charges. As soon as he uses a house, he's got 2.
That's good enough. That's Tia and Chaos.
Yeah, I went and took another fight. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're getting 2,500 experience, but I mean, it's gonna start taking around 20,000. Once you get into the 30s, just about 32,000 experience for a level up. It's kind of getting into the tens of thousands, so there's multiple encounters just to get one. All right.
All right. I didn't see the run ability. Okay, so that was a runnable fight there with really high HP Gersharks and relatively high HP Wizzahags. JazzRaptr sunk a nuke into it just to help clear it out, but managed to run away. Not taking advantage of all the free tiles here on this floor, but doesn't matter too much. What is he going to do as far as his approach to this fight? Party order matters, and how aggressive or defensive you play matters, because Kraken, really dangerous fiend, both physically and with the spells and scripts it can roll. Alright, Knight is in the back, life casting high-level White Wizard is in the back. I like this. Probably going to lead off with just as much offense as possible.
Yeah, and I think maybe throw out a poke attack just to see how good the defense is. Okay,
yeah, taking a turn to power bonk is fine, but a little dangerous on this fight. You do want to try and pump damage as fast as possible, especially if you know you have that temper coming in already. We could have a low absorb Kraken that we would already be doing physical damage to. Leads off with Ice 2. That's a really safe spell. Just chip damage, and the White Mage is still relatively high HP, so a nuke wouldn't be terrifying here.
Also, with the Masamune, you don't have to temper up quite the same way. You can just, again, throw up one poke from any character, really, and just see what kind of defense are you looking at.
Okay, so we're looking at relatively high evade, but not high absorb Kraken. Didn't have a ton of HP, maybe in the 800, 900 range. Close
I think
to
that might have rolled down.
Yeah, we had a couple nukes go off and like one swing for 380. He also was opting for the invis strats to kind of get his party safe from physicals with the White Mage. He alternatively could have approached it with Fade for straight offense, but Fade shares a level with Wall. He might be thinking about that because he does have one ribbon, whereas Hypes has the 2 ribbons.
Yeah, although again, I guess if you get your Invis 2 charges out, that's nice. And he's got no ruse on the Knight, but the Knight's the only one who has to live.
Okay, I liked his first 3 actions there. Ooh, slow 2 we know is on Tia, and it misses the Knight. That's the person that has to miss, especially without fast to back to fix it. Gonna use his last nuke charge here on the Red Wizard, and his second to last one on the Black Mage. Really conserving the offense from the White Mage, but it looks like it won't matter. The Knight is already hitting for over 500 a swing.
Well, I think he's planning on using the red and black as meat shield. Just going to burn down those charges as fast as possible.
Yeah, they are the least valuable of the 2 mages. You do want to get a few tempers off with the Black Mage in the final fight. And also Lock is good if Chaos rolls high evade, but I think we're in pretty good position here. Maybe one more turn swinging for 500 plus like that.
Yeah, Tia's got a base HP as well.
Ooh,
don't
nice.
worry about it.
Chip
Roll
damage
near
from
the base HP, though.
Yeah. Chip damage from the Red Wizard finishes it off. He's going to reorder his party just for this floor, I think. You want to have your highest level character who's tanky in front in case you get ambushed by vampires or iron... Well, not ambushed, but you run into iron goals. A lot of things on this floor can hit hard. Fully running from this fight. Doesn't want the experience. Getting snorted at. So JazzRaptr is on Chaos's floor at the hour 38 mark here, wending his way around. He's going to talk to Garland twice, and then, or Chaos Garland, whatever. Chaos moves back. So does JazzRaptr, moving his knight to the back. Talks a third time, pulls Chaos, and what do we got? We're leading off with Fire 2 from the Red Wizard. The only temper charge coming out of the Black Wizard on the knight. Power Bonk to get extra attack power per turn, and Viz 2 to protect the party from physical attacks. That'll be our first of 6 evasion stacks. Good turn order so far. We're getting all of our actions off before Chaos, which is what you want to see. And Ink, free turn.
Yeah, taking a pretty traditional approach to the opening turn. Get your buffs up. Not going to have enough Invis 2 charges to stack up all the way, I don't think. But it might not matter.
Yeah, now that Black Mage is throwing out chip damage with Fire 2 as well, but has Lock 2 available, and it's a really valuable spell to cast on this particular fight, so you'd love to see him throw that out to make sure the Knight is landing as many of those 5 Mazza hits as possible.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't mind seeing a poke because you don't know what their defense at first, right? Like if you're doing a couple hundred, you can rely on first.
Yeah, we have yet to see a physical swing. We've been bonking, we've been chipping, we've been evading. Thankfully, we haven't seen any big non-elemental skills or spells from Chaos yet. Oh! Big hit, but negated by Cure 4. This is fine, though. We've only done chip damage in one swing. If we're doing 1,000 damage a turn, Chaos doesn't stand a chance. So it's good to see that Cure 4 now, rather than after we've dealt like 3,000.
Yeah, that's fairly early in the spell list. That's got to cycle through. Okay.
Okay.
It's okay, we only needed the spider.
Oh boy. Good thing we got all those levels on it early. Alright, we're doing very respectable damage. Nuclear doesn't put us into lethal HP range, so we're fine. We're still above 400. All these other spells, not too terrible, as long as Chaos doesn't make it all the way back around to the Cure 4 before we win. And I think we're going to be fine.
One fear is Nuke now.
Yeah, that is a spell-happy Chaos, but there we go. Terminated with a swing from the Mazza. JazzRaptr has finished first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 34 seconds. Get out your GGs for JazzRaptr. What a run.
Yeah, very kind of smooth sailing. A lot of running around, but you know what? That was almost a by-the-book execution, and I think JazzRaptr's got to feel pretty good about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Ran it like a veteran.
Yeah, Jazz is playing well above his league. He's definitely ready to take on the other people in the 2-in-1 pool going forward. We will, of course, invite him in for an interview. In the meantime, we do have Hype still running to finish out his game. He nuked Lich first action and is moving on to the fire floor.
Yeah, I believe for Hypes, Lich has gone down to 1 nuke twice, which is the most Lich thing ever.
Hello.
Hey, Jazz.
Howdy. So, great run. We're all thrilled here in chat. The finish, especially on one Light Warrior, was thrilling. How do you feel?
Man, I'm hyped up right now. My heart's pumping. It was kind of amazing. I was just really hoping another thing didn't happen like last time, where it was like 50 seconds of a difference. Oh my gosh, how is he doing?
Well, as far as closeness goes, it could have been a situation like that because Hypes and you were within about a minute as far as TOFR entry potential, but Hypes decided that fast was too important to his victory condition, so he took time to dan off 2 of his mages, grind up the Black Mage on a tile, and unfortunately, really only finished his grind around when you were pulling like Tia 2.
No kidding. Yeah, I had thought briefly about going to go get fast, but I didn't want to put that time into it. Last time my fatal flaw was to go buy spells beforehand, and I just didn't want to do that again.
Yeah, there's so many, and of course your experience now with being in some tight races against good competition, you're learning those kinds of lessons where sometimes you really need those things, but if you can shave 30 seconds to a minute by making a couple of skips, that can be the difference. So I love to see you having that mindset of just attack.
Yeah, I've been kind of mentored by a couple of different really, really good people the last couple of weeks, so I've been very happy about that.
Mm-hmm. We've got Hypes Nova taking on Carry 2 right here. Did lose the White Wizard to Zap, but thankfully we got multiple redundant life casters and a fairly average HP carry, so he's already moving on. Let's see here. So my next comment is you were in the air first, thanks to, of course, heads up play to check the shops as always, especially when you get up to the on-rack area. You got your floater off that herb. You had similar timing to Canoe, but can you tell us a little bit about your thought process of like, once you're in the air, what did you want to do?
My first thing in the air is always to go get the bottle and the slab taken care of if I have them. And I knew that I didn't go to Dr. Yoon yet, so I went to him first, and then I went to go get the combination down. Generally speaking, the next step would be to go to if I have the tail, to go get leveled up. I think I found it a little bit later on though. I think it was Ice Cave.
Yeah, it was in the Ice Cave location. Early on, you got a really good grind set up with the Gurmedusas in Marsh Cave. So you sort of opted to, rather than go fast early, you sort of set your seed.
Say that again. You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was just wondering, what were you thinking when you saw the Gurmedusas? You opted for the early grind.
You know, to be honest with you, for me, I was in Marsh Cave thinking, okay, I've got this canal. There's some really bad stuff going on here, so I didn't want to be in there for too long. And then I made the thought of, well, I have the key. Now I have to go do these. And I kind of forgot in the meantime. And then so when I went back to it and I found those Gurmedusas, I was like, well, you know, this is an excellent opportunity to get myself up into the early 20s or something like that, and then just kind of wade through it after that, take the battles while I have them, but not worry about my levels too much.
Yeah, that's I was a big fan of the play. Gurmedusas that are low HP when you got a mage stick is a wonderful grind, and earlier grinds pay off more than later grinds, so you reaped the rewards throughout the seed. Also, we were commending your choice to make the safe play, secure that grind, make sure that you didn't wipe to any random skill or spell, and you exited out before going back down to clear the last couple chests.
Yeah, no, that was a big one for me. I was like, oh, I just don't even know when these next Thunder people are going to come up or whatever. And I just needed to make sure I banked that one before going too far.
And it certainly paid out. You had a really strong team for TOFR. You had, even if you didn't pick up that Mazza, you had a Vorpal in hand. You were going to be doing a lot of damage. Speaking of doing a lot of damage, Hype's trying to take care of the Please Notepad, which is his Tiamat sprite. He's on Tia 2 now. Got fast up on his Mazza wielding Knight. Pretty good levels all around. Not taking too much chip damage here from this Lit 2. Not resisted by the White Wizard, but stays up at 76 HP. Nuke comes out for 216, 8 hits from the Mazza, only 193, no crits. He's got a couple of nuke charges left. I think he wants to maybe... Ooh, just wait. He's going to go all melee strats here. Gets 342. Lit 2 comes out again. That, doesn't take out either of the back mages, but they're on one knee. Looks like we're finally going to make use of our red and black mage, but wait with the white mage. Pretty sure that the melee will carry the day. And nicely timed. So yeah, about your TOFR, anything you felt was notable from the Fiend fights, how those played out, besides, I guess, the Chaos going down to one warrior?
No, other than that, I mean, the other ones went fine. I was a little worried at Carry for some reason. I was kind of getting a little bit hyped up, I guess. But the after that, I mean, it wasn't too bad going through them. Chaos was another one, though, for sure. And that Cure 4 came out, I was like, oh, man.
It seemed like a lot of the opponents, all the Fiends, kind of rolled poorly, except for Chaos, who was a little bit beefier.
Beefier, but not a lot of punch on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the Cure 4, after you'd sunk in about 1500 damage, was frightening, but because you had just swung for over 1,000 with Mazza against Chaos, aka Clippy, who Hypes is pulled right now, we weren't too worried. In fact, Hypes saw the Cure 4 even earlier, it looks like, so he's even in better shape. He's pulling out Power Gauntlet, nukes, White Mage is down, and I think I saw an effect. Was that like a stun before death? We'd noted earlier that we hadn't seen a lot of touch attacks from enemies, and so we were liable to maybe see ones coming off the Fiends. Chaos opting for Ink, which is great. That's a free turn, doesn't advance the spell list, not coming back to Cure 4 anytime soon. 270 from that second nuke, pretty high roll. Gonna lock 2 a bit to make sure we're landing those hits. Oh, that was the thing. Hang on, this Bane's coming out, doesn't kill anyone, so Hype's still cooking. Jazz, you had the option to actually go for some locks. Hypes finishes at second place, 1 hour, 48 minutes, 27 seconds. Get out your GG. I'll finally finish my question. Jazz, you had the option to go for some locks on your Black Wizard. Don't think you ever saw you cast it. You were going for the chip damage on the Fire 2 instead.
You know, I have been known to go too slow on Chaos, and I wanted to get to swinging as much as I could. So I threw out that first swing to see if it was going to get some damage, decent damage. And by the time it got some decent damage, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep on swinging and not worry about the lock damage or the lock.
That's fair. Yeah, making those small optimizations, especially important in close races. You'll be probably reliving the previous week from now for a while, unless of course you make a run here from 2-1 and go the rest of the distance.
Man, we can only see. I'm happy with today for sure, at least.
Yeah, it's great to get a win in the bank, have a winning record, set yourself up for a good second half of the Swiss weeks.
Yeah, we were sort of commenting on just the overall routing and the way you guys handled it. You had a very veteran approach to it, and I think, you know, lots to feel good about this race.
GG Hypes Nova, welcome to the chat.
Mine push to talk, yeah. Hi.
GG, great job, man. I heard that you were right up there with me, right next to me, so excellent.
Yeah, I tried to do a bit of a dumb move. I tried to get hits of fast, and that didn't work.
We were just talking about that. Yeah, I was thinking about going to get the fast over there in Gaia as well, and I just didn't want to put the time in, and I was hoping for a little easier of a Topher, but who knew at that point? Yeah,
the biggest divergence really in the whole seed, I think probably even a bigger divergence than the order in which you got the floater and did those dungeons, was the fact that Jazz saw the Gurmedusa tile in the bottom of Marsh Locked before getting his canal ground up to the 20s, while Hypes, you just went in, got your canal, exited out, and totally safe, normal play, but it affected how the rest played out from there and sort of what resources you had as you cleared the late dungeons.
How could there be a Gurmedusa tile down there?
It was in Locked, the second room on the bottom, second from left, and it was just a trap tile there.
Yeah, there's about 50, 60 HP on those things. They were going down real easy.
So I guess I need to brush up on my trap tiles because I didn't know there was a different one down there.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, someone else being in your shoes might have just said, clear the chests as quickly as possible, avoid as many of the forced encounters as possible, get the canal, get out, because that is ultimately more important than like any grind tile, especially since both of you had seen the Fire 2 from the Scums and there's something else deadly.
Yeah, there was a poison something or something.
Oh yeah,
as well.
stone poison on the shadows, right? So it's just like, you don't want to mess around down there, and each approach is understandable, but also it seems like it was a bit of an information difference where Hypes wasn't familiar maybe with the layout, so didn't see all those tiles anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I completely forgot about the tile or the key locked marsh until I just decided at the very end to go get them. So I mean, it was just I guess fortuitous that I ended up seeing it. But yeah.
And was it a conscious decision to have the white mage be the one you were grinding up, probably because it has exit versus any of the other mages?
That was the main goal. But you know what? To be honest with you, I do like to have a fighter white mage or a black belt white mage grind because they really do support each other pretty well as far as Cure 4s, Life 2s, you know?
Yeah, they scale better in their HP. Like a black mage getting the same levels would have been 100 HP behind, so you're more vulnerable in the late game. But then, of course, you would have had fast charges. So all kinds of decisions. It's so... We can see from the casting booth here that like you make things happen in the first 10-15 minutes of the seed that affect, the hour 30-minute mark of the seed. Hypes, you were efficiently clearing dungeons. You one-shot the whole Anrak continent thanks to having Oxiel and being in no mode first. You had found both loose first So you were able to make up a ton of time despite getting in the air late. What were you thinking as far as your checks once you got into the air?
I just wanted ribbons, so I cleared until I had 2. Then I was kind of worrying about Topher. I thought it was going to be bad. It wasn't because it just wasn't.
Mhm. Yeah, the ribbon pickup in Mirage 2 was pretty lucky. Didn't have to clear too many extra chests, and of course 2 ribbons better than 1. Jazz, you made it through with just 1 ribbon on the night, and in this case with Night Learnable Life and Ruse, I think. It was a pretty safe setup either way.
Yeah, I didn't actually go back to buy any spells for the night, though. I thought about it too as well, but it was one of those last-minute decisions I had kind of gone with.
Yeah. I guess I would say go for the, of anything that you can learn post-promotion, the single biggest game changer is Night Learnable Life. That will rescue you from so many bad dives in the future. So maybe cash that one in, but you can leave behind other spells if you are looking to make some cuts.
For sure.
Anyways, it's been a good broadcast, fun race to cast. Let's start wrapping up here with final thoughts as it's getting pretty late. So, JazzRaptr, first place finisher tonight, 2-1 record. How do you feel?
I feel great. It was a really, really good race for me. I really enjoyed getting to talk with Hypes beforehand. It was really nice for us to kind of chat in the IRC chat room. GG's. I'm sure it will go great next round for you, bud.
Hypes. Now you're moving into the 1 and 2 bracket, also full of a lot of competitive players. How do you feel?
I want to think more than once a seed going forward.
Yeah, preparation, certainly a big thing that could pay off, but you'll have plenty of opportunity. We're halfway through Swiss, so a lot more potential wins coming up. My commentary partner, Get Daved, how do you feel?
Well, I think we just watched a very competitive race. We thought we had 2 runners with similar ability, and you guys actually, I think, really played quite well, quite above your experience level. It was really good. You guys are both really solid runners, and that's going to start becoming apparent over time. Is just the experience against more well-known racers gives you chances to show what you're made of, and Hype, you might be beating yourself up a little bit about this, but honestly, you guys were it was very neck and neck, very even, and we both sort of reflected on you guys as you're running that this was just veteran moves all around. So yeah, I think y'all both should feel pretty good about tonight.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, with that, I'd like to thank everyone in the audience for watching, making these things possible, of course. We wouldn't be broadcasting if there were no viewers. Thank you to the Speed Gaming family of networks for doing so much work to help us schedule and host. Thank you to our tournament staff, everyone who's been working hard to get comms and tracking crew onto all the races. Thank you to Dengwu, who's been cutting videos for YouTube, Danny, who's been doing a ton of organization. I appreciate the chance to be here casting. It was great to work with you, Dave. To everyone else out there watching, we've got a couple more Week 3 matches tomorrow on the Speed Gaming family and networks, and then Monday we will be revealing pairings for Week 4. We already know the flag set. Monday we will start off the Sky Week of the tournament, so look forward to that. And in the meantime, keep on enjoying Rando. Good night.